Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you a lovely design of a pin, and the one we're gonna make today is gonna have garland. So this is part of the mistletoe magic. I wanted to use these lovely charms that we got in this awesome organizer container. So there's a few things I wanted to talk to you about. The organizer container, really quickly, I'll show you, is really cool. So you can open up the individual containers and get what you need. But this is something I didn't know about. If you open up all of the containers, all the little doors, you slide it up, it opens up completely. So you can take the top off. So if you're working on a project, you can set it down and grab your stuff. So anyway, we have a bunch of charms. So I thought it'd be nice to make a pin, but I wanted to do something that was a little more than just attaching pins with jump rings. You know, I think all of us can do that and can figure out a nice configuration to make a very beautiful pin. But I wanted to add something special, so let me just show you this one here that I made. Now, I will do a video on how to make this lovely Christmas lights garland. So I'm really, really excited about this one here. So I'll do another video showing you how to make this one. Super simple, but we're going to start with the more difficult one first. Yay! So let's bring my mat down a bit so you can see what I have here. So this was the first garland that I made, and I used these super duos and some 11-0 seed beads to create some holly berries in a garland style. And the idea would be to hook these on, something like that, and have them dangle, and then put some charms and maybe some crystals for a little bit of a pop. But as you can see, in my opinion, these holly berries are upside down. I think we're used to seeing them. Let me grab these here. We're used to seeing them this way with the leaves up. And let me enlarge this a little bit too. That in focus. There we go. Yeah, so normally the leaves are up, or sometimes we'll use these as a decorative thing on the side maybe. But anyway, so the second iteration is this one here, and I think this one looks a lot better. But guess what? We're going to alter this one too. So I was just getting ready to do another one of these with the alteration, and I thought, you know what, just make the video. We'll have so many of these. So let me show you how, using this second row, first of all, the idea was so that these leaves would be on the top. And because they're heavier, they fall to the bottom. And that's what happens on this here. So I thought I would add a strand at the top. And as I was doing that, I realized maybe I should have the garland like a swag in this rounded position. So I made the top part a little shorter, so it brought them together. And I think that's the perfect idea for the garland that I was in my head looking for. So I'll take that off. Put that aside. The only difference that I wanted to do here was I wanted this to really look like garland. And usually garland is made with pine bough. So I thought if we change these beads into green beads to give you that impression. So we'll see, it may not work. Otherwise we have this, we'll attach it to our pin and add some charms to it and see how it turns out. So let's get started. You're going to need some thread. I'm going to grab a wingspan. It's kind of my go-to length because I always end up with a secondary idea. So you need your scissors. Now, I did notice that I felt like the thread was visible. So I am going to dye my thread with a Sharpie marker. And this is a trick I use all the time. So let's move this up here. And I'm going to enlarge this for you so you can see. Bring this down. See all the items I have. Maybe a little bit bigger. Set the focus. Okay, so we'll move this one over here as our guide. And I'm just taking a piece of paper. Actually, it's a thick piece of cardstock. Because you're going to be holding the marker down in one spot, you want to use a thick piece of paper. Otherwise, the ink might go through and get on your bead mat. So, geez, I can't grab that thread. So just hold down your thread with the marker and drag it through. This also helps kind of untwist your cord a bit. Make sure you can see this. Now, I did on one of those, I did dye it after on the spots of the Super Duo. I don't recommend that because the ink will get on your beads. And as much as it probably won't stay because it's glass, you don't want to mark it up. And I do find if you use a piece of cardboard, it works better because the cardboard is a little softer, so the marker stays in place and holds the thread from coming out. It's a bit done there. And that's it for that. Let's put that aside. I'm going to use a size 12 needle. You could probably get away with a size 10. Okay, now you're going to need, let's enlarge this a little bit more. You're going to need some Super Duos. I'm using the Super Duos opaque olive, gold marbled opaque olivine. And they are gorgeous. There's a bit of like gold shimmer on them. You're going to need, there they are, 2 8/0 beads. And that's just for the ends here. You know what? We need this bigger. So 2 8/0 beads. You're going to need some 11/0 gold. You're going to need some 15/0 gold. I have some 11/0 opaque red and some 11/0, I think these are called olivine as well, opaque. What else do we need? We need these clamshell clasps, I don't know, end pieces they call them. And I thought this was in focus, but I guess not. So these ones here are hearts. I have different ones. Some of them are shells. Some of them are just circles. The ones that are just circles, they are very flat. Actually, I have 2 types. I didn't realize. So these ones are super flat. It's hard to, you have to make sure you have a very small stop bead in there. Otherwise, it won't close and you can kind of see it. But actually, this one is, I think, around like a circle. It's a little bit rounder, so you might be able to hide that in. But anyway, you can get these online super cheap. You can see I have a whole bunch of them, different colors and shapes. So we're going to need one of those right away. You're going to need some, I'm using size 0 crimp beads. You could probably get away with a size 1 if you have some. I'm just going to put 1 out for now because we'll get it started. And then we'll use the second one for the end piece. So I did find it helped if you put an 11/0 bead in there first and then your stop bead and crimp, or your crimp bead, and then you crimp your stop bead. And the reason being is it's so close to the bottom, you don't want it getting caught in there. And these are super tiny, so they might slide through. So that's that part there. Let's see, what is the best way to get this started? Slide this part in here. So this is the end. You're going to slide it through the clamshell. Put your 11/0 bead on there. And your crimp bead. Okay, you're going to need some pliers, really some narrow ones, so that you can get in there and crimp that. I mean, it's not a big deal for this side because we can move that up after. Just make sure you don't try and crush your 11/0. It will crack and break all over the place. So let's just make sure that's not going to move. No, it's attached to that thread. So now we're just going to clip that. Just like that. So then pull that in. And actually we can clip that some more, because when we close it, we don't want to see the thread. Now you can use stop, those little butterfly, grab one here. You can use these to hold it and then put these on after. Because this is a new design for me, I don't have my order down pat. So you can squeeze those with your hands or use your pliers, but actually that looks pretty good. Let's see if we can get it closed a little more. There. Perfect. So now we're ready to start stringing on this side, and we have our needle. Let me move my scissors so they don't get caught. So we're going to start with the bottom strand here, this strand here. And to start with, we're going to put the 8/0 bead on either side of the garland. So let's get that one on. So we have like that. And then I thought to add this swag of garland, I'd outline it with a 15/0. I don't know. Let's do an 11/0, and then we are going to do, you know what, we're going to need more of these, I think, of these green. We're going to use a lot of those. So I used 2, 4, 6, I think 15. So let's grab 15 of these. There's 6, 10, and 5 more. We might need more because these are quite small. I think this is going to look really lovely. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so let's put those there. We're going to need an 11/0. It kind of outlines those green beads like that. Now for the fun part, creating the holly leaf and berry. So we are going to pick up one. So this is a bit tricky. Let me think about this for a second. Yeah. So on this one here, you can see, let me enlarge this. This one here, I added like the gold beads, and then I added all 3 super duos, and then I added a 15 and 3 berries, or 3 red beads, and then another 15, and then I went in a circle, but when I came back around to the berries, I skipped the middle berry to give it that pointy look, and then came back out on this side. But as you can see, we're going through the bottom of the super duos, and to have this so that it's attached to the top beads, the top holes of the super duo, we want to start there. So it's a little trickier for that. So let me show you that process. Instead of adding all 3 super duos, and let me bring this out a bit. Instead of adding all 3, you're going to add 1. And this is a little trick. So if you think, let me just demonstrate this. I learned this trick in a specific design, and it's really helpful to learn how to go through things and get them attached where you want them instead of, exactly the same order all the time. So normally you would come here, go through these guys, go through these. So you do circles and you come out here and then you do another circle, come out here, do another circle. You can make a whole bracelet with that. But sometimes where your thread's going through is not in the right spot. So what you can do is you can reverse your thread, is what I'm getting at. So we are going to come down, and of course, because we've dyed our thread, we're not going to see the thread next to the green bead. So let's just hold it in place there and bring this down. Place it like that. So now you see, if we're going to follow our thread path, we switched it from going this way to going this way. So now, instead of picking up the next 2 super duos, we're going to pick up our berries. So hopefully that makes sense to you. If it doesn't make sense, don't worry, just follow my lead. This is the first one. The next ones, I'll just do it and say, do this next, do this next. So it'll be easier for you. But pick up a gold bead, because we want these berries outlined by gold beads. Pick up all 3 berries, or red beads, and then another gold bead. So that's what you have. There's where we are. And of course, now we need our 2 super duos. That, just move these guys off. That. And bring those all down. So that's what you have on the other side. But now these, it's a little bit wonky. Just bring your stuff around like that. You're going to go through this hole, because we want to go down to the berries and make that little point with the berries. So we bring it around like that. Now you can leave them like that. That looks cute too. But you know me, it has to look exactly. So we're going to go through the first 15-0 gold bead in the first berry. That. We're going to skip the second berry. We're going to go through the gold and through the bottom hole of the last super duo. Now you can go through everything again. Actually, I might do that just to make sure it's nice and snug. So now that created the point. Let me get that super focused. So that made the point, but if your middle berry doesn't stick out like that, just put your needle in like this and pull your thread, and it will pop it into place. So we're going to go through everything again because I want these leaves to sit that way. So I'm going to pull it tight so that they do snug up to each other. And it'll reinforce the berries as well. So they're nice and snug. Just hold your tension. Now we're going to go through the gold, the red, first red 11-0 seed bead, skip the middle one, go through the gold, or the red, the gold, and the bottom hole of that super duo. Bring your thread through that. Let's get those together like that. Now we're in the bottom hole on the inside of this last super duo. We're going to step up to the top hole, and that positions us to do the next set of garland. So I'll try and describe this without as much detail and just show you step by step. Start with your 15-0. No, I used an 11-0 on that. 11-0 gold, and then 15 of these green beads. Three, 4, 5. So there's 10. So we're adding 15 green beads and 2 gold beads for every swag. And we're going to need another gold bead. So you can see that's going to look lovely. So let's go another gold. And we're going to pick up our first super duo. We're going to bring that down to our work, creating a bit of tension, holding it there. And we're going to step up to the other hole, which is going to become our bottom hole. Now we're going to add our berries. So we need 15 gold and 3 11-0 red. Another 15 gold. That. And we're going to add our last 2 super duos. Yep. Had to think about that. Bring those down. So that's what you add on the second step. Those down. And these are going to come around like a circle into this super duo. So pull your thread, creating that circle. And this is what you have. I'm going to bring that snug. We're going to go through the 15-0 gold, the 11-0 red. We're going to skip the second red bead, go through the third red bead, through the 15 gold. So you see this one didn't pop up. So let's take our needle, get it into the middle bead like that. And when you pull your thread, it'll pop to the bottom like that. Okay, we'll go through one more time just to secure everything. Especially the super duos, they're a bit flippy floppy still. You might have to do that in 2 steps because the super duo holes are angled. So it's hard to get your needle to go around the angle. That. Okay. And we're going to make our way through the gold 15-0, the first red 11-0. And just untangle that. Just pull it with your needle. I'm going to go past this second red bead, then go through the red, through the gold bead, and through the bottom hole of the last super duo. Get it nice and snug. Get those in position like that. Then we're going to step up from the bottom hole to the top hole on that super duo, and this hole does not look good. Oh, it's fine. I was like, no, a closed hole. So there is our second holly. We're going to pick up an 11/0 gold and 15 green beads. You're going to do this. I suggest you either do 3 or 5 times. The uneven number gives you a holly at the bottom, at the very center bottom. So if you want to do a shorter swag, you just do the 3. I found I think 3 is probably the sweet spot, but the problem is that these charms are so big that if you only do 3, your charms are going to cover up your stuff. So I thought with 5, it makes the pin a little bigger, but I think it looks better that way. So we have 5. We need 10 more. So here's another 5. My mat's like rolling all over the place. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gives us 15 green beads, 1 11/0 gold bead, and a super duo. Let's grab our super duos here. Grab your first super duo. Like that. Just hang on to it, and we're going to step up to the other hole. So that's snug with the other beads, so none of your thread is showing. You do want to be careful to give it a little bit of looseness so that they're not like rigid. And I got to work on that. I'm always worried there's thread going to be showing if I leave too much. Okay, so now we are going to pick up our 15/0 and our berries. We get 3 berries here. So 1 15/0, 3 red beads. These are 11/0s. Another red bead. And our last 2 super duos. We're going to put those all at the bottom of our thread like that. Okay, so we're creating a circle. Our berries are at the bottom. So we're going to bring these over like this. And they'll just flip in the correct orientation. So now we want these as our bottom holes, and this one as our bottom hole, because that's where the berries are at the bottom. So put your needle through the bottom hole of that first super duo. And just hold it there. Pull those in, and you see they naturally pop. And let's see. Yeah. So just hang on to those. Go through the gold and the red. Skip the next red bead. Go through the following red bead. That. And again, we'll get that one to pop down. Pull your thread snug. And there we have it. We're going to go through everything again, just so it's nice and secure. So you might have to go through 2 super duos and then the other. That. And same idea, through the gold, through the red, skip the middle red, go through the red, the gold, that. We're going to go through the bottom hole of the last super duo, and we're going to step up to the top hole of that same super duo, like that. So we have 3, we need 2 more of these. So I'll pause the camera, I'll do the next 2, and I'll come back and show you how to finish this off. We're going to add that upper line of beads as well. Okay, so I have my 5 sets of holly on my garland, and I'm going to do my final seed beads, and we're going to attach. And actually, I close this. We don't. We're going to add the top strand of beads, so we're going to secure that with a crimp bead as well. So, you want this open. You can either use your nail. These are pretty easy to open. I would suggest you don't open and close them too often, because it is just folded metal, very thin, and eventually it will crack and break. Okay, so we are going to do an 11-0 gold, and I have 15 of the 11-0 green. That don't want to see. My needle got bent, so your beads fall off. I have seen people that use their finger to grab each bead. I would have no finger left if I did that all the time. Let me know if you do that. This finger, I don't know, you can see it's kind of crooked. This joint gets stuck in the other position. I always tease my wife and say, look, my finger's broken. And then I bend it and you hear a little snap. She's like, oh, don't do that. Gross, Emma. So there's the 11-0 gold, and then the 8-0 for the attachment to the lobster, or not a lobster claw, a clamshell. I'm doing the fisherman thing here. We've been watching the shrimp or the lobster boats come in, because it's lobster season. At the end, in the evening or early afternoon, you see the lobster boats come in. I guess, oh, there it is. So we're going to get our clamshell, and we're going to put an 11-0. Now, here's an option for you too. Because I'm adding a second strand of beads, you might want to use those butterfly bead stoppers to hold this, and then add your second strand, and then put everything in on your crimp bead. But I'm just going to do it this way and add a second crimp bead. These crimp beads are so tiny that it's not going to take up a lot of space inside the clamshell. So I'm going to actually put out 3. And you know what? These, I got a whole set of these at Michael's, the different sizes and the silver as well. It came in a kit. But I did find, when I was getting these out, there's quite a few that are like doubles that are stuck together, and you can't get them apart. But anyway, that's just there's supposed to be like 250 pieces. I've had these for years, so there probably is 250. I need 3 here, because we're going to need 2 for the next strand. So did I put my 11-0 in here? I'm going to put an 11-0 bead in there. It just makes it a lot easier. I've done a few of these, and it's like so hard trying to work with this tiny little crimp bead. You know what? If you have issues with your fingers or your eyes, definitely use a bigger crimp bead. It's not a big deal. You just have to make sure that your thread is secured in the crimp bead, that it doesn't slide around, because then there's no point to the crimp bead. So I'm going to go through. But you know what? I'm going to go back through this 11-0 like this. Try and bring it down here. Kind of hold it there so that it keeps that position. Let's see if that worked, because I don't want to leave too much looseness on this cord, because then you see all the line. So let's see if we could slide that down a bit. It's a bit tricky. Okay. Yeah, there's a bit of room. Let me see if I can grab a hold of that crimp bead. And I did find this part a little finicky, and it probably doesn't need to be that much. Yeah, that's still too much space for my liking. You know what? I think I'm going to go back out of this 11-0 and just pull them down. Of course, it's probably hooked through the thread. This is very tiny. Let me see if that unhooks it. Oh, that's just making it worse. I see what's happened here. Let's go through. There. My heavens. We're right back to the same. This is supposed to be a nice quick video. Hello. Let me see if I can scooch that down. That's better. Okay, so grab your pliers, and again, be careful. You have the right bead here. Don't crack your glass bead. Let's see if I can draw that in a bit. There. And that crimp bead doesn't look like it. It looks like it crimped on the side. So I don't know if that's going to hold the thread. I'm going to see if I can fix this. I'm going to pause the camera and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I believe it or not, I was able to cut that old crimp bead off. Rather than loop it back through the 11-0 bead, just add it to the end, because it's just too, it won't stay in place. So then just grab your, so now you can create some tension here. Grab your crimp bead and nice little squish. And I have to say, even though it's a 0 and this is thin thread, when I was cutting it off, I had to cut it twice carefully without cutting my thread, and blown away that held on to the thread that much. So I think they're pretty secure. So then just cut a little tail off like that so that that thread at the end will go inside. I'm going to leave that open because now we're going to take the rest of our thread on our needle and we're going to create the top strand here. So let's make sure our holly leaves are in the up position because we are going to come through here. We're going to put a crimp bead come through there. Then we're going to come down this 8/0 bead here and we're going to go through the tops of the middle super do all the way to the other side. So let's start by, I must have messed up. I had some, here's one and I used an extra one. So let's grab this one. This is our crimp bead. We can add it to our thread right away and crimp it. So let's just do that because then we'll pass through the open clamshell. I'll just squish it like that. Now we're going to cut the little tail off. About that much. Get rid of that thread. So now we're going to take this and we're going to come through here on the clamshell and we can pass through the 11/0 bead there and then come through the clamshell and through the 8/0 bead. And there, that's in there. You can maybe cut that a little more. You can leave it if you want. It probably won't show. There. And then squeeze this closed. Okay. So now we're going to do, I think I did 10 so that it creates, so on the bottom loops, we did 15 and I think I did 10 here. So let me see. Maybe it was 13. So there's 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I did 13. I think I tried 10 and it was too narrow. So we're going to add an 11/0 and 13 green bead. Actually, so here's an option. You can add gold beads at the top, or you can continue with the swag and add green beads. And I almost feel like maybe we should add the green. Yeah, I think so. Too many options. That's when I get stuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 3. And I'm wondering, let's take one of these green. Let's see here. I'm going to take it there. Well, actually, we have to take 2 off because we added a gold bead here. It's going to change where it's landing. So let's take 2 off. So I already took 1 off. We'll test it out and see where it lands. So gold. That just fancies it up a little. I'm all about the fancy. Go through the top hole of your middle super duo on the first holly cluster. You could use this design to make a bracelet too, for sure. I would probably add another, like a separate strand, like that's attached to a clamshell of either pearls or larger gold beads or colored beads, whichever, crystal beads. and then attach these to your clasp. I think that would look lovely. So I think that's good with that one, the first one, like that. Okay, so let's do gold and then 11 of these beads. There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fell off 5 and 11. And then 1 gold. Let's see where the next one takes us, because sometimes the edge is a little shorter. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that should be good. Because you remember, the swag is going to come down anyway, the way we're adding it to our pin. Let's see where this takes us, like that. Yeah, I think that'd be lovely. And you also might want to have this a little looser. So let's go 1 and 11 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. And 1, 11. We're going to go into the next middle super duo top bead from the left side going towards the right. Like this, pull through, back. I get all tangled here. Just flipped on me here. There we go. Like that. There. Okay. Gold 11-0. We need 11 of these. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1 and a gold. Go through the next super duo. Bring that through. I think that's what happened. It hooked like that. 11-0. 1, 2. Get these guys on. You can see there's 5 there. This nothing worse than working with a bent needle, and this was a brand new needle. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. Oh, I have to tell you a funny comment I got from Teresa in Maine, a neighbor of ours. So Maine is, we have a lot of visitors to Nova Scotia from Maine. Okay, let's put this through the last holly leaf. And she was saying that she enjoys watching my videos, and her husband Tony, so big shout out to Tony, always asks, so what's Emma making today? I thought that was so cute. So I'm just looking at this swag. I guess just having it this way is looking weird. Okay, so our last one. Here's 1. And what did we put on here? Did we put the full amount? There's 5. Yeah, we did 11 on that one. So Do the same here. There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. And then a gold one. That. Let's get my thread here. Okay, so that's our last one. We're going to go through the 8/0 bead. We're going to pass through the clamshell. There's a hole at the base of it, and pass through the 11/0 there. Going to make sure we have our tension all the way through. So there's still a bit, it's still a bit loose there. So just hang on to it here and pull that snug. We're going to get one more crimp bead. That. Bring that down. And get our pliers and squeeze that crimp bead. That. Just take a look and make sure it's secure. Then clip the tail end. You can close that. So that's why I was saying you can see a bit of thread there. You can either use your thread burner to get it out of the way or just try and clip it. Unfortunately, my scissors are not sharp at the end. I got to sharpen them. But now, move this off here. Now we have this. So it's up to you what you think. If you like the green at the top and the green at the bottom, or let me know which one you like better. You know what I am finding? That I feel like now maybe it's just my tension, I feel like the gold beads are slightly heavier. So I feel like they're draping a bit better. And I'm very partial to bling, so I like the shiny stuff. Although this is a little more retro vintage look to it. So let's take a look and I'll show you how to, let's get all our charms on there. Now, because this is so big, I have seen where they attach strands of chain to either end rather than in the middle loops. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And the best way I found to get this looped on is use your needle nose pliers. I tried to do it with my round nose and it just doesn't work. It's not behaving. So just grab this and fold it around the loop. And then maybe a little squeeze. You want to make sure there is some movement in it, but make sure it's attached like that. And then on this side here, oh, that's going to be lovely. Maybe we'll do up the other one too. How's that? So then you can decide, let me know in the comments which you prefer, the green or the gold. I'm kind of liking the gold. I'm a very blingy girl. I'm making up for when I was a kid and there wasn't a lot of gold until it came to disco time. Then everything was gold. Let me see if I can squeeze this in a bit. There. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, what are we going to put inside there? I kind of wanted to add the charms that match with the holly, but I love this little Santa. So what do we have here? We have the bells. We can make it totally vintage with the candy cane and the bells. Maybe we'll save the Santa for the gold one. Yeah, let's do that. And with the Santa, maybe the reindeer kind of goes with it. So let's get some jump rings. Gonna use these gold jump rings. These are 18 gauge, 5mm jump rings. Just now you need a second set of pliers to open these. That. And put your charm on. I'm going to separate them on the edges. You can place them wherever you want. Just a little twist and squeeze together. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, the next one. So this is part of the Mistletoe Magic Curiosities Box that I traveled to Toronto to help pick the things that went in. So when they showed me the charms, they had just a few in one of these containers. And I was like, oh, the charms are really nice. So she really went all out. These are still available. I think they're available through Michael's. So if you didn't get the opportunity to buy a box, you can still get some of this stuff. Okay, so now we need something in the middle. And it's kind of hoping something long. Let's put some crystals, maybe. Let me pause the camera and I'll come back with some goodies to put in there. Okay, I think I know what we're going to do. We're going to put this Christmas tree in the middle since it's nice and big. And we'll actually bring it down a bit so it kind of fits this swag. So I think we might put a crystal between there and there. And then we have these beads in with our bugles in the Mistletoe Magic box. So we'll use these to put some little dangles there, and we'll use crystals for that too. So let's grab some lovely Preciosa crystals. I think we should stay with the green and red. So this one is very sparkly. Oh. And you know what? These are two. So I have 2 boxes of Preciosas. They're all... Let me see here. Okay, I've got some green in here. Do you know what? I have some gold ones. These are really lovely. Why don't we do that? Actually, maybe for the Christmas tree, we'll do a green, a gold, and a gold. Something like that. And yeah, we'll use the gold. So we'll put 2 of these 4mm bicones, separating the 2 kind of candy cane colored beads. Put these away. Get these out. You're going to need some head pins. 2 of these, that should be enough. And got some head pins here. And let me grab a longer head pin for this one, because for the Christmas tree, I'm going to cut the wire. I use head pins for my wire just because it's nice and hardened steel. So we're going to clip the head pin part off like that and get our round nose pliers. I'm going to create a loop, just turn like that. So we're going to open this up and hook our Christmas tree on there. Like that. Then close this. There. This straight. It's not very straight. There we go. Like that. And then we're going to pick up a gold. I think I'm going to put a 15-0 bead. This might be too big. Oh no, that works. Just at the end there. And then, yeah, that's nice. Then a green. A gold bicone. These are 4mm bicones. And then one more 15-0. Let's move these out of the way. Like that. So now we need another loop, which is probably going to be at about there. So we will cut with our flush cutters and just hang on to that part so it doesn't fly and hit you in the eye. And I'm going to pay attention because I have this hanging front to back, and then it's going to go front to back on this one too. So let's grab this, get our round nose pliers, grab the end of this, turn, release, and turn like that. Then open it up. We're going to hook that on the middle loop here. Just want to make sure that 15-0 bead stays down. There we go. Grab the end of that and close it up. Perfect. Oh, this is going to be lovely. Now look at that. It's in the wrong position. So here's a quick fix for that. When you realize it's in the wrong way, you can hang on to the top one and twist your head pin in the opposite direction, and it should turn it around like that. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Oh, this is looking lovely. Woohoo! So flip that one over. Let's do these guys. Now I'm just going to use I have these small head pins. Let me see what length these ones here. And hang on to those. Let's take. So this, we're going to leave the head pin on. Put the first 4mm bicone. Then one of these like candy cane. Oh, that's lovely. I'm just wondering if I need a bead cap for that. Let me just try an 11-0 bead. I wonder if that'll slide in there. Oh no, that's lovely. Okay, take another 11-0. and your second 4mm bicone. And I think I'm going to put an 11/0 here. Like that. And we're going to make a loop. So probably to about there. Clip this. And around those pliers, make a loop. Like that. Open that up. Hook it on to here. I may have to open it some more. Hooked on the Christmas tree. There we go. Like that. See how that looks. Oh yeah, this is lovely. Oh, this okay, this is getting really blingy, Christmassy. So much for retro. Are you with me still? Okay, let's add. What did we? Okay, 11/0 round bead, 11/0 4mm, and another 11/0. And then we're going to cut this one to about there. Get her around those pliers. Grab the end, turn it away from you. One turn, release, go back to the other side, release, and this is too long. So when that happens, just go back to the end of your loop and cut the length that you think you're going to need off of this. So maybe about there. And then try that again. And it should be the right length, like that. And open that up. Put that on. And get the end there so we can close it. It's right here. And close that. That's lovely. Wow. This is really... you know what? I have only one way to describe this. Very silly. There's so much bling, bling, bling. That's the holidays for you, right? Okay, so we have the second one. Let me see how much time we have left here. Okay, we're at the hour mark, so I think this one should go a little quicker. We're going to make this one, I would say reserve, but it's blingy to start with. So let me grab another one of these pins. This one only has 3 loops on it. So you can get them with more loops. I think I'm going to maybe go with the 3, and I will add some crystals to the middle. You know what we could add? The star. So I had some stuff of my own little charms. So maybe a star with some crystals to kind of represent that Santa is being pulled by the reindeer through the stars. Put a little story to that. Okay. So we need 2 jump rings. Those 2. I knew that when I did the designs with these charms that there was going to be a lot of like just putting things together with jump rings. But, sometimes you're in a hurry. And it kind of reminds me too that during the holidays, we tend to overextend ourselves because we have company coming and we're baking stuff. And, I forgot to put it's on there. We're doing all kinds of stuff. Companies coming over and whatnot. Just remember that you get to a certain point and you have to say, okay, I've done as much as I can do. Make sure you get some rest because it can be a really stressful time of year because of all the running around and shopping and baking. Remember that it's meant to, gather with friends and family and be together at this time. There we go. So that's those two there. And I'm going to do the same as I did for the other. I'm going to attach it to the loop on either end. And let me see if I can snag that piece here. You could add a jump ring here because this looks too tight. I think I will. So we'll add a bigger jump ring. Let's see what we have here. These 7 millimeters are kind of small. Let me see if I have a thicker one. Nope. Let's use the ones I had. There's one. Oh, these are actually the good ones. Okay. So we'll open this up. I used to, and let's make this into a closed loop so we can hook it on. So now for this, because it's just open like that, we can use our round nose pliers to turn it into a loop. Let's see if I can get that a little centered here. Okay. That on there. And put that in the loop. That's a little easier to hook on. What I was going to say is when I was younger, I used to do a lot of parties and socializing, and to the point my friends used to call me Martha, as in Martha Stewart, because that's the type of events I would put on. And it was really stressful. You have to time everything perfectly. The house has to be, extremely clean and decorated to unrealistic standards, really, when you think of it. So let's just turn that one there. Put that on and hook this on here. So yeah, I'm sure most of my subscribers are around the same age as I am, so they've come to that realization of remembering to take some time to rest. Okay, so there's those two there. So what should we put? You know what? If I had a large crystal bicone, and I do have some. Just one sec. I knew I had some large Swarovskis. Look at these. Are they massive? These are 6mm. Let's see what that's going to look like with the star. Maybe we'll put, I want it to hang really low. Something like that. What are we going to put in between there? We're going to need an eye pin for this. I have some lovely spacer beads that would go with it. And 1 second here. Okay, I found the eye pins. They're nice and long, so I should be able to get everything on there. Now, what I think I'll do for this one is I will hang it this way so that at the bottom here I can create a large enough loop to go through the star. Actually, you know what? We could put a jump ring on there. Yeah, let's do that. So let's grab. Now, because this is going through some thick glass, we need a medium size. Let's use one of these. Put that on the star without scratching it. Just carefully. Then put the eye pin like that. And twist it shut. Oh, that's lovely. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so now let's put some little gold beads, metal beads, in between the bicones. I think that's all we need. So 3 maybe. I'm wondering if those are going to be big enough. So one of those. Bicone. These are stunning. Look at the light coming off those. Then I kind of wanted to add these, but I think it'll look out of place. Yeah. I can't put everything on, even though I want to. Okay, let's see where that's going to land on our... Oh, this is going to look amazing. I think that's perfect, actually. Right there. Okay, so probably about there, and we might... We'll see if we need to put a jump ring or not. So let's cut it to about there. And turn this one with our round nose pliers. So grab the end and roll it away from you. Open and roll. And again, it's high up there, so I think I'm going to clip a little piece off and I'm going to make the loop bigger because it looks kind of small. So to make your loop bigger, just go further down on your pliers. So like I'll take it to there, like that. That'll be about the size of a jump ring. Go to the base of it and just twist it so that it kind of centers it. And I'm just going to open that some more so I can hook it on there. And then we'll close this up. This is lovely. Yay! Let's move these guys out of the way so you can see these 2 pins. Wow. Let's bring that down. Move these over. Ta-da! So there you go. Stay tuned for this design here. This one's a little faster because there's just the 2 strands of Christmas lights, but here is the blingy Christmas, kind of retro, with the candy cane beads, and this one with the stars and Santa. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.